Hello, dear listener, dear viewer. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. Welcome to yet another episode of this exciting program of ours, Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. Today I have a very, very exciting guest. I have Miss Agatha Atlholang, who's a fitness coach, but I always prefer my guests to introduce themselves. Welcome to the studio, Agatha.
Thank you so much for having me.
Would you care to share with our listeners out there who you are, what you do, and what you're about before we get into our subject? And for you, dear listener, the subject we're going to cover is the business of life coaching. Why it's important to have a life coach. And over to you, Agatha.
Like you said, my name is Agatha Atlholang. I am a certified personal trainer by profession and a certified life coach. So basically what I do is I do wellness in its whole aspect. I do mind, body, and soul training. So we're not only talking about fitness, we're talking about the mind as well. Personal training is something that I was very, very passionate about. I've always been very athletic. Life coaching is something that I recently did after my own personal journey of being an entrepreneur, being burnt out, suffering depression, and then introspecting and really trying to figure out who I really am in this journey of entrepreneurship.
Exciting, and we'll get maybe deeper into that as we go along.
Yes.
That's a very exciting journey. There's a guy called Bouchard, I think Brendan Bouchard.
Yeah.
He explains about himself having an epiphany
Yes.
and spending weeks and weeks in bed,
Yeah.
and then changed his whole life.
Absolutely.
So it sounds like you had a similar experience. Let's go right into the meat of it. We're going to talk about life coaching for entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And entrepreneurs out there normally don't see the point of having a coach. What I've noticed is that the sports people have long understood this message. Football, they understood this message that it's important to have a coach. But for some reason, when it comes to business people, they don't see the relevance of life coaching. And one of the things that I know you talk about is passion. Tell us about passion and tell us about the relevance and importance of life coaching.
Yeah, and actually to just kick it off, life coaching has its roots from sports training. And that's how they came up with the profession. You had all these people who were coaches, and then they brought it into the business world. In America, it's a big thing. It's a big industry right now. But basically, going back to your question on how it helps you as an entrepreneur, it helps you to identify your passion. Sometimes you want to be an entrepreneur, but you don't really know exactly what it is that you want to do. All you know is that you are not a 9-to-5 kind of guy. You know that there's so many different businesses that you can go into. Are you going into it for the money, or are you going into it because you're passionate about it? And you'll find that a lot of the times we go off, I like how you always say that tenderpreneurship. How people are all about tenders and we're trying to get as much money, but nobody's really looking at the talent and the passion and what is inside of you. And how can you use your talent to turn it into something that you can monetize, serve people while you're at it, and be happy and enjoy it.
And then passion is an important part of that.
Absolutely.
And you help I don't want to say coachee, but the person being coached.
Yeah.
You help them identify
their
passion.
Exactly. Like, for example, you have young people coming in and they're like, Agatha, I want to be an entrepreneur, but I'm not really sure what I want to do. I've probably been working for 2 years and I think, hey, yes, Bunny, it's really not for me. Work is not a thing for me. I really want to start my own thing, and then we sit down, we go through it and say, what exactly is it that you're passionate about? What is it when you were young that you used to love? What are you really, what is it that makes you happy when you're sitting down and you look, what would you do if you could do something for free? What would you do?
That takes us to the next point, which is a question of values.
Yes.
And people sometimes haven't really taken the time to identify their values in life.
Absolutely.
How important is that, and how do you assist a would-be entrepreneur in identifying their values and making sure that they correlate to the business ambitions?
Exactly. First of all, you have to identify your values, because here you are, you want to have a business, you want to venture into this whole thing, and you have probably a certain kind of belief system. Now, how are you going to then have partners, let's say, for example, who want to sell cocaine? And your values are not like that. You know what I'm saying? Your values are about helping people. So what's happening is that your values are clashing with the kind of business that you want to go into, even though you want money. You get what I'm saying? So now what we do is we sit down and we identify who is Mr. Mogobe. What is it that resonates with you as a human being? What are you passionate about? What are your belief systems like? What are your values like growing up? When your parents were teaching you as a young boy, what is it?
Especially about money, I guess.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about trying to figure out what really resonates with you as the individual, what makes you you, and then bringing it out and then saying, okay, let's see how we can enter into a business that actually goes hand in hand with these values.
That's beautifully well explained.
Yeah.
There's an issue of self-discovery, discovering your personality and your traits.
Absolutely.
What does that entail, and how do you go about helping the entrepreneur there in terms of getting into strengths and weaknesses and that sort of thing?
Personality is a very, very important thing. For example, I am what you call choleric. Cholerics are people who are
I think I'm half phlegmatic.
and
half maybe choleric. What's the other one?
There's choleric, we have phlegmatic, we've got a sanguine, and we've got a melancholic. Now, I'm choleric melancholic.
Sometimes I think I am all of those four.
Personality can be like that.
Yeah.
So basically what it is you've got to understand what your personality is. Being choleric means you are a go-getter. It means you're a motivator. It means you inspire people. It means when there's a problem, you stand there and you say, guys, right, here's the issue. This is what we're going to do. Now imagine if you're melancholic. Melancholics are deep thinkers. These are people who are artistic. These are your Einsteins. These are your makeup artists. All these people who are very mellow. So now imagine opening a business. Let's say, for example, you're melancholic, and then here you are trying to be a public speaker and trying to open a business that's all about public speaking. So your personality has to go with the kind of business that you're trying to run. Otherwise, you're going to get depressed because you're going to fail in it because your personality, you don't have the right personality for the job. Yeah.
And are there specific tests or processes you undertake to discover these personalities?
Absolutely. There are a lot of tests that we use. Some of them are on the internet. You've got what you call the temperament quiz, yes. And then there's other tests from different psychologists. One of the tests that I use is from psychologist Carl Jung. Right?
Yeah. He's one of the big ones.
He's one of the really, really big ones, you know, and I use a lot of his work in my work, you know.
The other one, I believe, is Seligman, and the other one is what, James?
James, yeah. So there's just so many of them. So basically what you do is you get your client to take a personality test, and this is very good, especially for young people, your children. When you have young 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds who are really trying to discover what they really want, children need to go for a personality test so that we don't end up with children doing subjects that they don't like and just doing subjects because mom and dad says they should do them, you know. So personality is a very, very vital part of the whole equation. Yeah.
Well, issue of limiting beliefs, incidentally, I do have a whole presentation on this in one of the nuggets of wisdom.
Yeah.
The question of limiting beliefs, how you identify those limiting beliefs, and presumably also teach people how to get rid of them in the process. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Life coaching's main thing is all about identifying limiting beliefs by using certain questions. We're all coming from different backgrounds. With us specifically as Batswana, it's more get a job, go to school, get a job, and pass, get a job, and that's about it. Whenever a child comes and a child wants to explore their talents, it's always, no, we don't do it like that. This is how we do it. So you kind of get programmed to think a certain way. It comes to a point where even when you're trying to start something new, you might really believe in this, but the thing is, all the things that you have...
You're almost like you're stifled.
You're stifled and you're conditioned to think a certain way. And this is why now we've got this whole issue of today you'll find that we will encourage young people to open businesses, but a lot of them aren't coming forward because a lot of their limiting beliefs is, I have to be safe. Because I've always been protected by mom and dad. And I've got to play it safe, and this is how we do it, and that's it. I mean, I remember when we were growing up, Mr. Mogobe, we couldn't wait to get out of the house. Right after Form 5, finishing or UB, what we do is we try to go on exchange programs. Young people today, they've got no jobs, but we wanted to see the world. But today, young people, most of them are just sitting here waiting for a job. And it's because of the conditioning. You can't really fault them because there's a way that they grew up.
How do you tackle those limiting beliefs or those wrong perceptions, if you like?
And this is the reason why we need to have life coaches. Either you've got a life coach, or you've got a mentor, or you attend seminars. And also with a life coach, you sit down and then you actually ask the questions. How did your parents view money? Was it always, money doesn't grow on trees? Or was it, money's evil? Or, you know, so you need to really sit down with your client and say, okay, how do you feel about this? Because you're going to have goals, then you're going to have an action plan. And then you're going to have to try and figure out why the client isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing, what we had agreed upon. And the more you go into it and trying to figure out why the action plan isn't working, why aren't you doing what we had agreed upon, that's where you really get to figure out through the breakthrough sessions to see, Cynthia, what is the problem here? So I can't exactly say, okay, you pinpoint it like this. Like, it's really more behavior. We look at your behavior, your assignments. Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? And if not, why are you not? And then we start probing there, trying to figure out.
I believe you get to a point where it gets really dramatic, where the person breaks up and they almost cries to discover what their limiting beliefs is.
Because sometimes,
you had that experience.
we do have those experiences. And the worst thing about this whole thing is that we don't recognize that we have some of these limiting beliefs. And that's why sometimes, even in marriage, that's why we don't get along, because of the way we've been brought up. And until we really get to the root of the issues, that's when you realize that, you know, actually I am a little oppressive as a wife. I am a little oppressive as a husband. And I never thought that I was like that. You see what I'm saying? So you do have those kind of situations where you sit down and you chat about it and it all comes out.
So you help people self-introspect.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
You also assist in this process to help people understand that you are not really your business. Is that true? I've heard people saying that your business and yourself are inextricably linked. But your argument is that you are not your business.
Yeah. My argument is that you are not your business. I look at it from this perspective. Right now, I am a personal trainer. Personal training, I'm very passionate about it. I love it. Personal training is what I do, right? Your job as an accountant is what you do. Life coaching is my life's purpose. This is what really fulfills me. Here I'm just athletic, I have fun, it's nice, I can do it. But I don't really connect with it as much as I'm connecting with life coaching and really getting people out of where they really are and really focusing on that. I would just do this. And then there is, who am I as Agatha? Without these things, without the money, without the car, who am I? And this is why we always have this issue of, you become a millionaire, you have all this money, business doesn't go right, next thing you become depressed, or you totally evaporate from the surface of the earth. Because all your life you thought this was you. This business was you. This is why when you get divorced as a wife, as a woman, because all you've ever identified is Mrs. Mogobe, Atlholang, Atlholang, you totally lose yourself. Even with the kids, all you know is how to be a mother, and you totally identify. So you really help a person. You take them out of their space and put them there as an individual to discover themselves. Totally, because my question is always, who are you without the fancy cars? Who are you without the popularity? You should still...
Without the business.
Exactly. You should still be able to have your walk tall, walk high, and still say, no, I'm still Mogobe. It doesn't matter whether I have this or that. Yeah.
The next one is a bit controversial because it might clash with my views. You're talking about identifying a work-life balance.
Yes.
I've often said that it's better to have a work-life harmony because balance implies, measurements of each piece. You know, if it's work, if it's family, if it's leisure activities, you're measuring and balancing everything. I normally say to my audience and to people I present to,
yeah.
that that's an imbalance there
Yeah.
in of itself. There's no such thing as work-life balance.
Yeah.
It's more like harmony.
Yeah.
How does everything interconnect?
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to hear what you have to say on
Yeah.
that.
What you're saying has some truth to it, because when you look at the wellness space, we've actually got 8 pillars. Remember what we said when I first started? 8 pillars, yes. Mind, we are a mind, we're a body, and we're a soul. With the wellness, what we teach is that we've got 8 pillars. You've got your physical wellness, your emotional wellness, your social wellness, your intellectual wellness, your financial wellness, your occupational wellness, your spiritual wellness, and your environmental wellness.
Wow.
Now, the moment you see all these 8 things, and look at all these 8 things, you've got to create a balance. What am I talking about, Kiri, physical wellness? I have to go to the gym. I have to make time at 5 a.m. in the morning. That's the first thing I do. Just like your lovely wife does.
Yeah.
First thing in the morning, she's at the gym.
Yeah.
Emotional wellness. How do I manage my emotions? How do I see the world, right? Next thing, social wellness. My children, my wife, my husband. How do I create an environment where we are at peace and we look at each other as man and wife and as a family? How do we make that work? Financial wellness. What kind of relationship do we have with money? You know, we've got to balance that out. And all these other wellness pillars, we look at all of them, and that's how you become an integrated human being. That's really what we're talking about when we say work-life balance. Because sometimes you'll find that, look at us right now, January, everybody's setting goals. It's either you're setting financial goals or spiritual goals. You don't actually know that you are 8 pillars that you have to set all 8 goals for. And this is where
that's where I am among the people who have been getting it wrong, I guess.
So this is really where we're at. And this is exactly what life coaching does for you. It teaches you all these things so that you can actually enjoy the money. Because I'm very concerned that we're making this money, but we're burning out and we're not even enjoying it. So that's exactly where I come in to say, listen, there's nothing wrong with chasing the money, but let's see how we can work around so that we actually enjoy it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well explained.
Yeah.
Let's move to the next point. I think it's number 7 now.
Yeah.
You say this life coaching business helps you to improve your level of self-awareness and emotional intelligence. That's one of my favorites. Emotional intelligence.
Exactly. So basically what it does is life coaching is about involving you in the whole equation. I don't tell you what to do. I probe you, I give you the questions, I ask you as I listen to you. So active listening is very important. Less of my talking, more of you, more of questions, and more of me figuring out. And then asking you, okay, have you ever looked at it from this perspective? So it really tries to help you to understand yourself first, so that when you understand yourself, then you can understand how other people function. And then that's how you then become emotionally intelligent. Emotional intelligence is not something that just comes today and that's it. It's like how people always say self-love, self-love. I said, you can't love your husband if you don't know how to love yourself. You can't love your wife if you don't know how to love yourself. So it's all about sitting down and figuring out who this person is, what they want, what are their values, what brings true to them, and then saying, okay, this is the plan, this is how we're going to do it.
Absolutely, makes perfect sense. Let's talk a little bit about leadership skills. You say this also help you develop leadership skills in terms of problem solving, empathy, how to deal with, I guess, your staff, and effective communication.
Absolutely. Because it starts with you. You learn first how you are functioning. We're all human beings. The moment you understand yourself, it becomes easier to function with other people. If you don't know that you yourself need a working environment where you are allowed to be creative, where you are allowed to be the best that you possibly can, how are you going to be able to lead other people into their potential? How are you going to be a good boss? How are you going to understand how to lead? You see what I mean? So it really speaks to you first before you can go out there and then say, let's do this, let's do that. I mean, I have people who come in who do own their own businesses, and they're like, okay, I feel like I'm not managing my people well. I feel like I'm not getting what I want from my people. And that's exactly what life coaching does. It teaches you to do what? To create an environment for your people to flourish so that you flourish.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. understanding an environment better.
Yes.
And here I'm sure when you say environment, you're not talking about geographical environment, or you're not talking about things like global warming and so on. You're talking about the work environment.
Your work environment, your space, because the more self-aware you are, the more conscious you are, the more you really zero into situations, the more you no longer look at things from the surface. You look at your employee and then you wonder, okay, this person does this all the time. What is really happening? What is the root of this? Why are my employees always complaining about this? And this is what we don't get. There's more to it. There's symptoms and there are causes. So as an entrepreneur, with life coaching, that's exactly what we do. We teach you to look at things not from there, but from there, so that you solve the problem and then we get rid of that. Yeah.
Do you actually go into the office space or the office environment to train the employees directly, or you prefer to deal with the leader?
What I like to do, honestly, is train both. It's very important because, you see, we have it in our minds, Mr. Mogobe, especially, I've done a lot of work with employees and top management and all of that. And one thing I notice about both parties is that they feel that the other party is wrong. They don't realize that we have different personalities. We have different strengths and weaknesses, which means we both need to work on ourselves. So what we do is we then sit down and look at everybody as a unit. I don't like to mix them, especially in the beginning. I'd like to do the leaders first and then do the other people first, afterwards. Create an environment where everybody's free to speak. Because the one thing that you don't want is to be there and have a conversation where your subordinate is going to try and use that against you.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So it's not a good idea to mix management with lower management. You take them separately until they learn. You equip them with the right skills to be able to really see each other for who they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, number 10.
Yes.
It helps you set SMART goals around your well-being. Let me see if I still remember what SMART stands for.
Yes.
Specific, measurable, achievable.
Yes.
I forgot, and
Realistic?
then time-bound. Realistic and time-bound.
Yes,
absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, goals have to be specific. You have to know. You can't say, I want to make money. How much money do you want to make? In how long? For what purpose? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. Measurable, time frame. You cannot go off and say, I want to make $1 million in a day, when it's going to probably take you 2 years, 3 years, 5 years to make that million, depending on the kind of business that you are in, you know. How attainable is it, right? Do you even have the skills to attain that kind of money? Or do we have to go to school first in order to get the right skills?
Or go for special courses of training.
Absolutely. You know, how realistic is it? And in what time frame do you want to achieve these things? So this is why we do the whole thing with the wellness wheel, the 8 pillars, where I then take you and say, right, this is 8 pillars. Can we set the goals? Like right now, I have this lady, she's never trained in her life. We did the program together. She then figured, listen, I've never exercised. I'm setting goals for myself. Now we've done the first part, which was the emotional wellness, getting her to understand herself. And now we're doing the physical part. So we're taking it in stages. It doesn't have to be one thing. That's why you'll find that you'll probably have a life coach for like 8 months. You know what I'm saying? Because this is somebody who's taking you through your life to really dissect and see where the limiting beliefs are, where the issues are, where we need to make improvements, and how we can be an integrated human being.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Now here's your chance to give us a bonus. I always give my audience a little bonus in terms of just a powerful nugget of wisdom, something to take home, something that would really drive in the point home as to why people need life coaching and why an average entrepreneur really needs it. It's not a want, it's a need.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's like this. Life coaching is one of those things that will help you to navigate this world in a way that you don't become stressed out, burnt out, and not even enjoy what you're doing. The idea of life is to enjoy life. Life is not supposed to be a burden. And we've turned business into a burden, and it doesn't have to be that, you know. So if you really want the best out of life, if you really want to be the kind of person who enjoys life, get a life coach. It's important. It will help you understand yourself better, understand other people better, understand the environment better.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do we access you? How do you have access to your services? And with whom do you collaborate in this regard?
Okay, so basically what I'm doing is life coaching through Genuine Fitness, which is my business. The program is called Wellness in Motion, e.t.c. Motswana. It's a program by a Motswana for Botswana. I work hand in hand with a counselor as well, especially where we have issues where people need a bit more help and deeper, they've got more traumas and all of that, so we work together. But to get a hold of me, I am on 75749948. That's 75749948. You can drop us, what's that?
Email?
An email at genuinefitnessbw@gmail.com. That's genuinefitnessbw@gmail.com, and we are at iTowers CBD, right? So come through, come through and let's see how we can help you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to tell your followers to subscribe or not? I'm not going to put any pressure to subscribe to our channel.
Yes, can you subscribe to, what's that,
Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom.
Mogobe's Nuggets of Wisdom.
Okay.
Can we please subscribe? It's an amazing show. You get to learn so much. So this year's 2020, new goals, try and be the best version of yourself.
Thank you very much. It was a thrill. It was a pleasure. I really enjoyed this. I was totally mesmerized. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mogobe.